Alan Grayson announced that he's running for the Senate, and MSNBC, of all networks, decided to question his legitimacy.
So could this loose cannon candidate blow the Democrats' chances to win the Sunshine State back in 2016? We're back with the roundtable. So, Sabrina, let me start with you. And we started the show talking about the dilemma that Republicans face when it comes to Donald Trump and all the inroads Republicans would like to make with Latino voters, with voters they did not win in 2012, and all of the messaging nightmares that Donald Trump is causing them. Now you look at Democrats trying to win back control of the U.S. Senate in 2016, Florida, a prime pickup opportunity for them. And now that you have this situation where Alan Grayson wants to run, he speaks the language of the base. How can the Democratic Party in Florida keep him from being their nominee without riling up their base in revolt?
Well, it certainly poses a significant challenge, and I think, as you mentioned, Republicans very much don't want Donald Trump to become the face of their party, and National Party Democrats, as well as strategists in Florida, they don't want Alan Grayson to become the face of the Democratic Party over there. One of the things about him is, as you mentioned, he has absolutely no filter. There's no telling what he might say, when he might say it. There questions have been raised about his ethics. He had a very, very ugly and public divorce, so I think they feel that he would be a distraction. Patrick Murphy, on the other hand, he defeated Alan West in one of the most expensive House races of 2012. He's a play-it-safe Democrat, and I think they have a really solid shot with him. So, you know, there's not much they can do about Alan Grayson throwing his hat in any way other than just hope that Patrick Murphy is able to stay on message and rally the support that he needs.
Well, David Corn, it's the tone, though, isn't it? I mean, Alan Grayson obviously is pretty far out there on the left, but we just did a segment about Bernie Sanders, who you'd also say is pretty far out there on the left. But with Alan Grayson, you get extra piece where it can become very strident, it can become very personal, it can become very edgy, and the message then, the liberalism itself, almost gets lost in the bombast.
Well, it is. Sometimes his methods distract from his message. And he reminds me, in a lot of ways, of Newt Gingrich. Remember when Newt was coming up, the enemies on the left were socialists and communists. And he would just come up every time something bad happened in the nation. He would blame it on the leftists and the liberals and the Democrats. And his rhetoric was exceedingly excessive and extreme. It still ended up working for him for a while. He got to be House Speaker. I'm not sure Alan Grayson is going to win the Senate primary, but Democratic establishments are always worried about people who are more to the outside ideologically than the center.
This is a perfect example of false equivalence, where they're saying, well, Alan Grayson, come on, he's really far out there on the left, he's a little crazy, and he's not centrist, and this may be a problem for the Democrats, and, oh, let's compare him to Donald Trump and Newt Gingrich. No, see, what you're doing here is you're pretending like the extremes on both ends are equally crazy and equally wrong, when the reality is the so-called extremes in the Democratic Party on the left are right in the middle of mainstream opinion in the United States of America. Just like with Bernie Sanders, look at the policies that Alan Grayson wants to implement. And when you do that, you find out very quickly the American people agree with him. They agree with him on almost every single issue. End the wars, get the NSA out of our life, regulate Wall Street, increase the minimum wage, protect Social Security and Medicare and education spending. These are all things that the overwhelming majority of the American people are on board with. But you're treating Alan Grayson like he's a buffoon. You're treating him like Donald Trump. You're going to compare him to Newt Gingrich? But that is a false equivalence. There is no real equivalence between the two. The only area where you could say, well, in that area they're somewhat similar is... what did Steve Kornacki say? Tone. But here's the thing. You can bring up the fact that, oh, his tone is very loud and in your face, like some people on the right, but that's as far as the comparison goes. What they do is they say their tones are similar, and, oh, that means they're similar in almost every way, and, oh, my God, isn't Alan Grayson going to hurt the Democrats' chances? But you know what else pisses me off about this? Motherfucker, we have the evidence. They make it seem like, well, I'm posing the question, who knows how this is going to work out? What happened in the last election? You know Alan Grayson is a congressman, right? So what happened when he ran the last time around? You have an answer to your question already, but you didn't bother to do the research or look it up or discuss the actual facts in this case. Alan Grayson won in a landslide. He won in a landslide in an election where overall the Democrats got their fucking clocks cleaned. Why did the Democrats get their clocks cleaned? How did the Democrats get their clocks cleaned? Because virtually all the other Democrats took the advice that MSNBC is giving right here, where they say, oh, be more centrist, be more pro-establishment, be more pro-corporatist, play ball more, don't be so sharp in your tone. And then when they did that, what happened? They all fucking lost.